Hey guys. Hey everybody that just joined. Hi. Oh, thank you, Royal Living. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that so much. Hi. Hi. Oh my God. Hi. Hey, congratulations, Mariah. That's awesome. Yay. All right. I just got off of work. So I'm kind of tired, but I'm gonna try to give y'all my very best. Um, so I think we might be able to just go ahead and get started. Um, 1 second. All right, so let me just tell my people on Instagram that I'm live now, and then we'll get started. Come on, hurry up. I'm live now on YouTube. To my channel. Okay. All right. Hey, everybody that joined. Hey, everybody that just joined. Congratulations to all you people that have just started your log journey, whether you started this week or 3 weeks ago. Hi, everybody. Max Jerome, you're not the only male sub, actually. It's 85% women and 15% men. So you got a few people with you. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, can everybody hear me? Can you just let me know if y'all can hear me, because I don't have my mic set up. And okay, good. You can hear me? Perfect. So, all right. So I'm going to talk about locks in the workplace. Thank you, guys. And specifically just my experience. Of course, I can't speak for everybody. So I'm just going to talk about how it's been for me. And then, okay, great, Jay. And then at the end, I'm going to answer questions. This is only my second time going live, and I'm still trying to work out some of the kinks of that. So I'm just going to talk a little bit, and yeah, we'll do questions. All right, so a little bit of background about me and what I do. I am a communications specialist. I do writing, graphic design, communications project management. I work at a very conservative place. It's mostly lawyers and accountants where I work. So it's very conservative, really very kind of by the book type of people. And I got my degree in English. I've been working as a writer ever since. So anybody that tells you you cannot get a degree in English, that's a lie. You definitely can. So yeah, I've been in the workforce for, how long has it been? I did my first internship in 2006, which seems like forever ago. So I've really been working for, how long is that? I can't do math right now. 2006, 13 years. Okay. I've been working, and oops, I just deleted my note. Hold on 1 second. Where did it go? Shit. Technical difficulties. Hold on 1 second. What the hell? Really? All right. Okay, so I've been working for 13 years. I have not had locks, of course, that entire time. I've had a variety of styles. I had loose natural, I wore weaves, wigs, pretty much everything you can imagine. The only thing I never wore to work was box braids. But I have to say that during my time of working, I've been really fortunate. I see a lot of comments from you guys talking about what it's like, people being really negative. And I've been very fortunate because I have not really run into a lot of opposition with my locks. Hey, everybody that just joined. But yeah, I haven't really run into a lot of negativity with my locks. In the 5 years that I've had them, there are 2 specific situations I can think of where it was just kind of whack. So the first one was when I was starting my locks. I was thinking about starting them. And there was this guy, this old white man. He was like 72 or something. And his name was Jack. And Jack would always flirt and always like the first day, my first day at this job, he was flirtatious, like jumping into my employee photo and just all kinds of stuff. So anyway, Jack kind of treated me like his personal eye candy, basically. And it was kind of like I was there for his entertainment. And it was really annoying and exhausting. And so one day I did a photo shoot because as some of you may know, I used to do photo shoots for Sophisticated Black Hair magazine. And so I did a photo shoot and I came to work with a wig. It was a blonde. Let me see if I can pull up a picture really quick. Yeah, I came to work with this kind of like, I don't know what the color was. It was kind of like a dark blonde wig. And when Jack saw me at work that day, he was just like in love. He was like, oh my God, like basically this is what I've been waiting for. And I'm like, really, dude? Like, I'm not here for your entertainment, but that's how he treated things. And so I told him, don't get too excited because I'm starting Locs. And he was like, well, why would you start Locs? Locs are dirty. That's going to be ugly. He literally said it was going to be ugly and dirty. And I'm just like, okay, here's a picture of me with the with the blonde wig, which I mean, it was cute. But yeah, it just wasn't me. Like at this point in my journey, I knew I was ready for something different. So yeah, definitely weird, Brie. So yeah, he said they were going to be ugly and dirty. So I'm like, I'm sorry you feel that way, but this is what I'm doing. So the next day I go back to work with my starter Locs. This was, what day was it? March 16th? Excuse me, March 16th or 17th, 2014. I can't remember my anniversary date. But he, so basically he would come like to my desk and see me. So he comes and he turns the corner and he's basically coming to see if I still have my blonde wig. And he comes and he sees my starter Locs and he's like, the wig is gone. It's gone. And he just has like the most sullen look on his face. And I'm just like, I don't know what to tell you. I can't help you. I told you I was getting Locs. You're not my man. So I don't know why you're that invested in my hair in the first place. But he was really disappointed. And after that, he really like literally started treating me different. And I'm just like, hey, Purple. I'm just like, sorry, not sorry. What you want me to do? Go talk to one of these little white girls in here that got the straight hair that you like because I can't help you with that. So that was the first kind of negative experience that I had with Locs. Second one, which actually was not nearly as bad. It was just kind of like a fleeting thing. There was this guy at my job who, like, I can tell, yes, definitely, he was a creeper, Tanisha, definitely. So there was this other guy who would kind of make eye contact with me and kind of show some signs of interest, but it never really went anywhere. His work romances are just, I don't recommend work romances for a lot of reasons. Anywho, he would like kind of look at my hair. And I remember him saying something like, oh, well, if you get your hair done, ... you'll be cute, basically, something like that. And so I did some curls and I came back to work. I went to work one day with the curls and he was like, your hair is done. I'm like, yeah, thanks. And to me, that's just like, that's not a compliment. If I have to change something about myself in order for you to like me or to be interested in me, then you really ain't the person for me. So long story short, that was the experience that I had. Yes, Josie, absolutely, the audacity. Like, as I said just a second ago, I'm not at work for your entertainment. I'm not here for your viewing pleasure. I'm here to do my job. So those are really the two only really negative experiences I had with my Locs. I am very, very, very fortunate to live and work in an area that is very friendly towards Locs. A ton of people have locks in DC metro area. It's very common. And so I just haven't had to deal with a lot of the backlash at work, or maybe not backlash, but just a lot of the negativity that that is so common in the workplace. Now, hold on one second. Now the thing is, I understand at the very beginning of your lock journey, it's really tough when you're starting out and your hair is super frizzy, because there is a certain expectation that people have of you at work, that you're going to come in there and you're going to be well kept, your hair is going to be done, your clothes are going to be ironed, you know, shoes not talking, stuff like that. And it's just unfortunate that people have this automatic, just this preconceived notion about locks, that they're dirty automatically, they're nasty, they stink, they're unkempt, and therefore they're unprofessional. And that, of course, is just not true at all. And it's just very difficult to have to deal with that if you're working in a very conservative place. I don't know if you guys remember over the summer, the guy that worked at Six Flags, can't remember his name, young black guy though, well, of course, but he worked at Six Flags and they were telling him that he would have to cut his locks in order to continue working. And I just found that so offensive, and I actually wanted to do a video about it, but I didn't get a chance to. But just the idea that locks by definition are unprofessional is just a really unfair judgment, because I wash my hair. I'm sure those of you who have locks, who are already on your journey, you're washing your hair, you're taking care of your hair. And, you know, in the beginning, there's only so much you can control, okay? But people don't really understand that. And I don't want to have to go to work and educate people about my hair, because I really feel like I shouldn't. It is a personal choice. It's not something that's hurting people. And I kind of just, I don't know, a person with a long weave that's not blending in, like their hair is not blending with the rest of their weave, they don't have to explain to people why their hair looks the way it does. So why do I have to explain that my hair is natural and it's locking? I don't get why I would need to do that. And so I typically do not explain my hair to people at work unless people ask. And some people have asked about it. I'm just asking, you know, how long the process takes. And there have been some people that have approached me very respectfully about it. Actually, today was the first time that I really told like a lot of people at work that I even have a YouTube channel. I talk about my locks. And I always, like, I don't know, I don't like to feel like an anthropological experiment, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't represent all Black people, and I don't represent everybody with locks. My journey is very personal. So if somebody comes to me and asks me about my hair, respectfully, I'll tell them about it. But, you know, it's not my job to educate you about my hair, basically. And I don't know, you guys can let me know if you agree with that. Like, should we be responsible for educating people about our hair, about our locks, especially at work? Or should we just be able to live our lives and go on just like the person that got some, I don't know, fake fire engine red hair? They don't have to educate people about their hair. The person that goes in there with a whole bunch of split ends and flyaways and all that, they ain't got to educate people about their hair. So leave us alone with locks. All right. Pause real quick. Let me get some water real quick because my throat is already starting to hurt. So yeah, that has been my experience. Hold on. Let me take a look at some comments real quick. Josie says, it depends on my mood. Sometimes I feel like explaining. Other times I don't want to be bothered. Yeah, that's pretty much where I am. Rand Cooper, I literally hate explaining my hair. If people don't understand, then this one locked head won't help them. I feel you, girl. Eonjosity. Sorry if I mispronounced that. I just get started locks. Are yours heavy? How do you get them straight again after crimping? So I'm gonna answer questions like that towards the end. But yeah, I don't want to have to explain my hair. I'm at work to do a job, and if you're distracted by my hair, that means that you're not really focusing on your own work, because I don't go in there with any sorts of crazy colors. I don't go in with crazy styles. I don't go in with anything that's like really drawing attention to myself necessarily. And I just think that the idea that locks are drawing attention to yourself in the first place, I have a problem with that. Now, I will say, if you have freeform locks that are very large, or if your locks are very long, then that will draw attention to people. But I hesitate to say that that's unprofessional. It's not, to me, it's not unprofessional, but anytime your hair is super duper long, people will notice that. Like, that's whether it's locked or straight or whatever. But generally speaking, growing locks, should not be a problem. But we've just made it out to be that. The standards are so, we're still living with these European beauty standards, right? And then we've kind of transitioned. The Black beauty standard has kind of transitioned into loose natural hair, whereas before we all wanted this straight hair, and now everybody is gunning for 3C hair, which a lot of us just don't have, okay? And we shouldn't be expected to have it. And a lot of us think, oh, when I go natural, my hair is going to be curly, and it's not. It's coily. And that, it just makes me sad that that's what our standard has become. However, I've gotten to the point where I embrace my hair. This is how I'm going to show up to work, because this is me. This is who you hired. I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm not going to go to work with my butt hanging out or anything like that. But you're not going to get me to get rid of the locks. I have been fortunate, because even though I work in a really conservative place, like, nobody on my team, like my boss, managers, whoever, nobody has made a comment about my locks. Nobody's ever made me feel uncomfortable about them. I remember when I was starting out, I could tell that people wanted to say something, but they didn't want to seem rude. Because there were some days where my hair was looking really, really rough in the beginning. And I guess some people figure, well, it's better to just not say anything versus saying something that could potentially be taken the wrong way. So yeah, but if you are in a place where people are not as open and accepting of locks, it's going to be tougher for you to deal with it, because you're not going to have, I guess, like this, what's the word? There's like an implicit consensus. I don't know if that makes sense, but there's kind of a consensus where I am that locks are okay, locks are acceptable. You can wear locks to work. If you live in an environment where that's not the case, it's really going to be on you to really stand your ground and just be true to yourself, basically, and not let people get to you, because the reality is people will say stuff about your locks. They will assume that they're dirty. They will assume that you're unprofessional. A lot of companies, I've heard of companies that do have policies against wearing your hair a certain way. If your company is like that, I honestly, I feel like if I worked for a place like that, well, I don't know if I would get hired in the first place, but let's just say I'm there and I start locks and they have a problem with it. I honestly feel like I'm going to HR and I'm going to contest this, because you cannot tell me that wearing my hair the way it grows from my head and just cultivating it a certain way so I get in certain style, you can't tell me that that's unprofessional. Because if that's the case, nobody needs to go into work dyeing their hair. Nobody needs to wear weaves, because that's not natural, right? So, and I'm not saying people shouldn't do that, but I'm saying if you're gonna set this standard, for everybody to follow, or you're going to single out people, you need to look at the entire workforce and how people are wearing their hair, because you're not going to single me out. And I honestly feel like if I were in that situation, I would be going to HR and I would complain and I would let it be known that this isn't fair. You're not going to target me because of my natural hair. And if you think that natural hair is unprofessional, or you think it's abnormal to the point where it should be outlawed, then that's a problem that you have with yourself. That's a privilege problem. And I'm not going to carry the burden of that, basically. So I'm going to pause really quick and I will answer any questions that I see. Let's see. Or just address some comments. Ren says, I think now is the best time to come together as Loc community because of all the negative remarks. Yes, it is. And I think that social media, especially like Instagram, it's been really good for creating that community and helping us see each other with Locs, helping us see and appreciate our beauty, our handsomeness, whatever, with Locs. So yeah, it's definitely time for us to come together. No Cthulhu, sorry if I mispronounce it. Started my Locs 7 years ago, watching from South Africa. It's 1:45 a.m. Thanks, girl. Or I think it's girl. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate that. I know it's late. Let's see. Bree says, it's so crazy the things we have to go through. I'm growing out my relaxed short pixie, and the only thing I worry about is the adjustment they will have to make in the comments, of course. And yes, that's a really good point. They're going to have to make an adjustment, just like Jack, the guy from work, had to make an adjustment with me coming in there, you know, with my starter Locs. And that's their problem. That's a personal problem. It's not ours. All right. Dreadhead John says, you're beautiful lady. That's why I was trying to flirt with you. Thank you, John. Robin, very rude. Yes. Divine M. Yes. I'm glad I live in the DMV. Locs are so common. They really are common. The interesting thing about the DMV though, is that it's going through a lot of changes, and like it used to be called Chocolate City, you know, for all the Black folks that live here. Definitely not really like that now. Like it's becoming Milk Chocolate City, and it's slowly becoming caramel macchiato, and eventually it's just going to be vanilla. And yeah, that's a whole other subject. Let's see. So I addressed those comments already. Dreadhead John, we're beautiful people with Locs. Yes, we are. Robin Smith, just my opinion. I don't think so. This is 2019. By now you should know. And if you don't know, read a book, or better yet, Google. Exactly. Educate yourself if you don't know. Tanisha Lovely says, no, I had to let HR know after one incident that wasn't answering any more questions about my hair. Yeah, it shouldn't be on you to explain anything about you. That's just part of you being a human being, you know. Your hair is part of you being human. Now, of course, we choose to wear our hair a certain way, but generally speaking, like this is who I am as a person. This is what I've decided to do with my body part, essentially. So leave me alone. All right. Angiosity. Would you have gotten them smaller if you could have? No. I definitely would not have gotten my Locs smaller. I feel like I might have gotten them a little bit thicker, honestly. The ones on this side are pretty thin. And yeah, I've thought about combining them, but yeah, definitely wouldn't want them to be smaller. Let's see. Bougie Barb, I have no desire to have 3C hair. I feel you, girl. I don't either. I like having my kinky hair. It's much easier to have Locs. And then she says, I'd much rather have my 4A, 4B hair. The kinkier, the better. Yes. Denisha Lovely, yes, the looks, but I'm okay with that as long as no one comments. Yeah, you can't control where people look. I always felt like people that just stare at you are rude, and like maybe they didn't have good home training. I don't know. I was taught not to stare at people. And if it's really that important to me, I will ask a question. But generally speaking, like people staring at your hair or staring at anything else about you, I don't know why people do that, man. It's rude. Ren Cooper, locks will definitely show you a whole new level of self-love. They will. They will. You really learn to you really get to know yourself with locks, okay? And that's a journey that a lot of people don't experience. And it's nothing wrong with people because they don't get to experience it, but this is a unique journey, and you're not going to invalidate my journey by telling me that I'm unprofessional. And Josh didn't worry about the smell and if the locks will be too hard or crunchy. That all depends on your habits and your behavior. If you wash your hair and you don't give it ample time to dry and it sits there damp for an extended amount of time, it might start to smell a little moldy. That actually, or not moldy, but like mildewy. That actually, in my 5 years, it happened to me one time. And when it happened, I was like, I don't want to say I was devastated, but it was really just very disconcerting. And so I washed my hair. I had washed it, and then I didn't feel like sitting under the dryer, so I let it air dry. And then I think it was the next day, it had a little smell, so I had to wash it again. Fortunately, that only happened once. It has not happened since then, thank goodness. I hope it never does happen. But the longer my locks get, I think there is more of a risk just because there's more hair. All right, next question or comment. Oh, and you're worried whether your locks will be too hard or crunchy. You got to moisturize them. You have to spray them. I use water, olive oil, and some essential oil. You have to moisturize them because ultimately it's still hair. It might be in a different form than your loose natural hair, but it is still hair, and you do still have to take care of it. All right. Above the Sea says, in 1990, I went to an office assignment surrounded by beautiful variations of chocolate professionals, many doctors, medical education, clinical, etc. I wore a shaved head. They trip. And yeah, that's another thing. It's like if you have locks, they trip. And then if you're a woman and you shave your head, they trip. Because the standard for women is that you have hair and it's loose and flowing hair. And yeah, for people, because I shaved my head before as well, and people had something to say about that. And it's just frustrating because it's like, as Black women, we always got to deal with somebody commenting on our appearance. And I don't have space for your comments in my life, for your negativity in my life. So I'm just not going to deal with it. Let's see. Angiosity not smell due to washing it either. Smells due to restaurants and muffers. Oh, yes, definitely. A couple years ago, I went to a little Halloween party and I sat by the fire for probably like an hour, and my hair smelled like a fire for probably a week. And I didn't feel like washing it because I was just being lazy, but your locks will attract smells, definitely. Kene Shiafiwi says, I love your lock videos. Thank you, Kene. Real living. My hair is 2 months into the locking process. It's not long enough for me to put in a pony. How do I go to work looking professional, but still encouraging the process? So the best thing you can do, honestly, at the very beginning of your journey is to just keep your starter locks moisturized. And once you start, I don't want to say keep them retwisted. I really don't, because I don't recommend putting a lot of just tension on your hair in the beginning, and you don't want to set yourself up for bad habits. One of the things that I have found that helps when my hair is really frizzy, which your starter locks will be, is to spray your head. Like, it might seem counterintuitive with your roots because you want to keep your roots neat, but in order to have your overall head looking neat, spray all of your hair with an oil and water mixture, and then put a satin scarf over your head, and then go to sleep. When you wake up the next morning, your hair will look really juicy, look really moisturized, and that is going to go a long way towards helping it be moisturized, or towards helping it look professional, because you don't want to be doing a lot of manipulation. Once you get to a certain length, you can experiment with doing different styles, but I would still recommend keeping your styles very conservative. But for me, the number one way to just make sure that your locks, your starter locks, look decent is to just keep them moisturized. All right. Let's see. Divine M, yeah, the gentrification is crazy. Shaking my head. Yes, it is. DC is a very different city than it was before. All right, Kane, they inspired me to continue my lock journey. Very important, very informative. Thank you so much. I have a question. Have you ever been treated differently because of your hair? Well, earlier on, I don't know if you just joined, but I did talk about the two negative experiences that I had at work with my locks, and it was basically just men projecting their ideals onto me, their beauty standards onto me, and looking at me as basically their form of entertainment. And then when I was not really meeting that standard, they're asking me why. And, that's not my problem. It's not my problem to meet your standard. But generally speaking, I have not been treated differently because of my hair. As I said earlier, I live in an area, DC, that is very open to locks. Everybody and their mama got locks. Okay, I didn't think I was gonna get locks. I moved here and I got locks. So we all have them here. Let's see. Dreadhead John, I'm totally glad that I have locks. I wouldn't trade them for nothing. And I totally agree with your thoughts about your locks. Yep, I wouldn't trade mine for anything. I wouldn't. All right. Sierra Smith says, hey, I love your videos. I'm in school to be a teacher. I'm doing student teaching, and a Caucasian boy asked me why my hair looks the way it does. How should I approach this dealing with children? That's a really good question. I don't have kids. And so I'm always like hesitant to give advice when it comes to kids, because I can only really give like my 2 cents, or I guess how I would handle it. What I would say is, well, hey, little Johnny, or whatever your name is, little Tommy. So different groups have different hair types. So you might notice that some people have really straight hair. Then you might notice that other people, maybe they have darker skin, or even if they don't, they could be lighter skin or darker skin, but sometimes their hair is a little thicker, or what we call kinky. It's very coily, it's very tight, whereas other people have loose hair. And so some people choose, when they have very kinky, tight hair, they might choose to wear what are called locks. And then you just kind of explain what locks are. It's basically strands of hair that you've purposely wanted to tangle. So say, little Johnny, when you're at home, or imagine that you haven't washed your hair in a while and your hair gets tangled, that's kind of like what happens with my hair. But instead of like combing it out, I just let it get tangled on purpose. And then I shape it into this really fun style that I want. And that's how I wear my hair. That's how my locks, came about. And so I don't know if that's a good explanation or not. I feel like that is the route that I would take, just explaining just the different ways that people can look, and just like keeping it really friendly, and also just understanding that kids are naturally curious and kids pick up on differences. And so, yeah, they'll notice that, oh, your hair is different from her hair. Why is that? So I hope that helps. Let's see. I'm Sierra Smith. I have 4C locks, by the way. Nice. I have 4C, and it's like 4B and 4C. The hair in the back, like the very back of my head, the like bottom row of locks is kind of like 4A. Yeah. Ian Jossity, thanks for answering. How do you get your locks straight after having them wavy? Are your locks heavy? Can you please discuss thick, large part versus thin locks and the maintenance? I have starter coils. So it's really easy. People always ask me how I get my locks straight after having them wavy. I get them straight by just wetting them. It's either I'm washing my hair, or I am just spraying them down enough to where they'll straighten out. But honestly, I like wearing my locks wavy. I don't like them straight. I don't like it. I feel like when they get longer, I'll probably like them straight more, because then I can just like, I don't know, like wrap them around or something like this, and they'll just hang. But when my hair is straight, it feels really boring to me. So I like having texture. Let's see. Are your locks heavy? No, they're only heavy when I wash them and they're wet. But generally speaking, they're not heavy. Can you discuss thick, large part versus thin locks and the maintenance? Well, I don't really, I mean, if you have thick parts, you're probably going to have fewer locks. If you have thin locks, you're going to have more locks, and they might be a little more delicate. Um, but then on the flip side of that, they're probably a little bit easier to style. If you have very thick locks, it's going to be harder for you to get them into certain styles. With thicker locks, you're probably going to have to do more when it comes to making sure your hair dries properly, because you just have a lot more hair to deal with and go through. With thinner locks, you're going to want to make sure that you're not retwisting too tightly, because the odds of them falling out are much higher because the hair is already so thin. Let's see. Ernest Brown, beautiful locks. Thank you. Royal Living, how do you avoid flat locks in the beginning? I'm not sure if you mean like, maybe I guess you mean like they're not cylindrical. Really the thing you want to do is make sure that you are palm rolling consistently. In the beginning, I palm rolled about, how often did I palm roll? I did every 2 weeks. Excuse me, every 2 weeks, and that helped me keep them in a cylindrical shape. If you're retwisting a lot less frequently, you're not going to have as much control over the shape. So I would just recommend being consistent. And also palm rolling in general versus interlocking. If you interlock, you're going to end up with flatter, tighter locks. So just keep that in mind. All right. Tanisha Lovely, what kind of hair dryer do you use and how long do you sit after retwist? I have a dryer that I got from Sally. I think it's like Gold Elements or something like that. If you wait a second, I can go get it. All right, let me go get it real quick. I can go get the hood. Because I have it over here. Alrighty. So I just sat under this weekend. So this is a Modern Elements dryer that I got from Sally. And it comes with, it's a rollabout dryer, so it comes with a stand and everything. So yeah, I sit under this for about maybe like an hour and a half. This Sunday, I did my hair and I really just was not in the mood to sit under there all that time. So I probably sat under there like 40 minutes or so. And my locks, like the retwist didn't get a chance to set. And so I have some like loose hair, but I don't really care. I don't got time. But yeah, I got this from Sally's. It was about $100. It might have been, sometimes they have sales, so definitely check for that. I'm gonna say it was like $119. All right. Dane, hey Dane, thank you. Rural Living, I also go to the gym 3 times a week. Do I use dry shampoo instead of rinsing my hair 3 times a week? So I've never used dry shampoo on my locks, and personally, I wouldn't, just because I would be concerned about the buildup from dry shampoo. But yeah, it is kind of tough when you go to the gym and you sweat your hair out. Honestly, it would be good if you could just wash your hair more often. But I would not suggest using dry shampoo. Like if some of you have used it, maybe you can chime in. I haven't used it, and just things that are like powdery or things that are like anything that's white in general, anything that's not completely clear, I hesitate to put on my locks. And especially something that's gonna, like a dry shampoo is meant to sit on your hair, and that's just a recipe for disaster, things that sit on your locks, because you need to be able to wash things out cleanly so they don't cause buildup. All right. Dreadhead John, I'm 15 months into my lock journey. I'm thinking about getting my tips dyed. Do you think it's too early for that? No, I personally don't think 15 months is too early. And also your tips are the oldest part of your hair typically. And they're also they're really like the part that locks first, unless you have really loose ends. which is a whole other story. But I think you should be okay. I think that's my unscientific opinion. All right. Kanae, what's your opinion on wearing extensions, wigs on locks? Um, I don't like it. I honestly don't, because I feel like if you're going to take this journey, you need to take it. You need to be here for it, which means you have your hair out, you're dealing with yourself, you're dealing with the transformation that your locks are going through, you're accepting it, you're owning it, you're learning how to stand up to people's comments if they have them, you're learning how to be patient and just let your hair go through this process. And so I just think when you take shortcuts, you're kind of like, I don't want to say this is the case for everybody, but I knew somebody that started locks and they asked me about them. And then I saw them wearing wigs all the time. And I'm just like, and she honestly said, like, I don't really feel comfortable with my starter locks, so I'm going to wear wigs. And I think it's just a really amazing thing when you can challenge yourself to get past the insecurities, to get past the fear, to get past the feeling of, not, maybe you don't feel cute one day because your hair is not how you want to look. When you get through that, you get over that hump and your locks mature, I feel like you're just able to love them and appreciate them all the more, and really love yourself and appreciate yourself more because you survived this intense process. Basically, you survived the embarrassment or whatever, from starting out with your hair super frizzy. So I don't recommend locks or extensions. I don't judge people who have them, but yeah, I don't recommend them. Okay. All right, I gotta take a water break because I'm hot, I'm thirsty. All right, oh wow, it's 8:21. Oh my gosh, time goes by so fast, it's crazy. All right, so I'm just gonna answer a couple more questions, then we're gonna wrap up. All right, Shalom A. Hello, beautiful sis. My locks are thin at the roots, mostly in the middle of my head. Is there anything I do to resolve or prevent that? Thanks. So that's a really common thing, unfortunately. When it comes to thinning, the crown is typically the first part of your head that thins. And for men, it's the crown, and it is, the temples, the front and temples and all that. So it's a tough thing to deal with. And I have actually noticed, like, I've looked at some comparison pictures, like when I started and then my first year, and then like looking at my locks now at the crown, I feel like there has been some thinning. And it's kind of like, I guess it's like a hormonal thing, and it also comes with age as well, and just like changes in your body. I also have thyroid issues. I don't know if you can see, my thyroid is a little enlarged. And then I also have lupus. So I have all these kind of factors playing against my hair. And so unfortunately, the thinning of the crown is very common. The best things you can do, I would say, are to make sure that you're not styling your hair too tightly. Don't retwist your hair too tightly up there, because that part is very susceptible to thinning. What else? There was something else I was going to say. I lost my train of thought about that. But yeah, check with your doctor if you can, to get blood work to see if, there's anything you can do, if there's any supplements you can take. I also have iron deficiency anemia, and that affects, my hair as well. And so, my edges have always been thin. I've just been noticing a little bit of thinning up here. So definitely you want to get blood work done. You want to get your thyroid checked. You want to make sure that you have covered those bases. But unfortunately, I don't really know what else you can do outside of that. So there is this, there are these treatments though called, what is it? It's like protein rich plasma or something like that, PRP injections. And I actually went for a consultation about this for my edges. So it's basically where they draw your blood, and then they put it in this centrifuge, and it spins and spins and spins, and it separates like the plasma from your blood, and then they inject that in parts of your hair that are thin. And supposedly it's supposed to help you grow your hair back. I've heard of people doing it and their edges didn't necessarily get longer, but they got fuller. And so I don't know if that's something that could also work for your crown. I'm thinking that it could. It's still like, it's not really 100% proven, I think. And you still, if you get it and it works, you might have to do multiple treatments. And I think it's like $1,500 a treatment, depending on where you live. So that's something you might want to look into as well. Alrighty. It's Lexi Marie. How do you maintain your retwist after workouts? I don't. I don't retain my retwist after workouts. And I've gotten to the point where I accept that. I accept it. My hair is not going to stay super tight. One thing I will do on occasion is I'll just spray the front and then I will very, very, very gently retwist it just so it looks neat, like depending on where I am in my wash cycle, basically. So I wash my hair every 3 weeks. If it's towards the beginning of that period, I will gently do the little, just a pseudo semi retwist. If it's towards the end of the 3-week period, I don't care. My hair is going to do what it does. All right. Romeo Hughes, I love your locks. Thank you. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Mystical Harmonizer, I see you're matching with the sofa. Oh, yes, I am. I love florals. I got this from Urban Outfitters. I have a bunch of florals, everything floral. All right, Mystical Harmonizer, what do you recommend for someone who has dry scalp? It really just depends on the oils, on the moisturizers that work for you. Olive oil works well for my hair. For some people, coconut oil works. It doesn't really work for me. I feel like it makes my hair drier. So it's really just about experimenting with like different oil mixtures to see what your hair likes best. And also tie your hair up at night because you will lose moisture sleeping on cotton. And you really should always be tying your locks up at night in general, but that's going to help you retain moisture. All right. St. Omian, are you tempted to try Tracy Ellis Ross's new line? Great ingredients, but I'm not sure because of the coconut oil and shea butter on my locks. Yeah, I like Tracy Ellis Ross, but the shea butter is gonna be a no for me. I just like, I feel like if you dilute products, you know, creamy, thicker products, they could potentially work on your locks. But the thing is, not everything is necessarily meant to be diluted, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, like maybe like a moisturizing cream or something. I don't know how diluting that will affect it necessarily. I imagine that it wouldn't really be good. So I'm probably going to pass on her line, but I do love her. All right. And let's see, last question. Harbor Polo, where'd you get your clear table from? So the table is actually wooden. The chairs are clear. And I got those from Amazon. I got like, I think it was like 2 for $120 or something. But I love those chairs. Thank you. All right, guys. So that was all I have for this video. I hope I answered your questions. If you're in the workplace and people are giving you a hard time about your locks, remember, this is your journey. This is your life. And you don't have to explain anything to anybody. If it's getting to the point where somebody's starting to harass you about it and really irritate you, I would suggest going to your manager or maybe even going to HR and letting people know that you're being harassed, because nobody deserves to have to answer a million questions about something that grows from their hair or something that grows from their scalp. You shouldn't have to answer that. So yeah, just I don't want to sound like dismissive, because I'm not being dismissive, but you truly have to keep your head up and you truly have to accept the fact that this is the journey that you're on, because your locks will not be frizzy forever. Well, is that true? Is that really true? Because my locks, I still deal with frizz, But when you're at the point where you can't really camouflage that, like in the very beginning, that part does not last forever. You will get to a point where you can camouflage your frizz, where you have more length to work with, and you're not so caught up in your locks being just super frizzy and super messy, you know, according to some people. So really stay strong throughout the journey, but don't let anybody abuse you. Nobody is entitled to tell you what to do, to question you, to tell you who you should be in the workplace. If you're doing your work, you're getting things done, you're staying out of trouble, who the hell cares what your hair looks like? Really? I just don't get it. But anyway, that is all that I have for this video. Thank you all so much for joining. If you have any more questions, feel free to follow me on Instagram. It's Nina Locs. Follow me there. I can answer questions there. Or I do post in the community tab, so leave something there if you want to. And I will see you guys next time. Tanisha, thank you. Thank you, Mystical Harmonizer. Thank you, Real Living. Rin Cooper, thank you to all of you guys. I hope you have a good night, and I'll see you next time. Bye.